Fluent Flow podcast. New videos every day. Let's learn English together.
Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive into the heart of knowledge. Here on the Deep Dive, our mission is, well, it's always the same. We sift through fascinating information, try to extract those golden nuggets of insight, and bring you surprising facts that really help you feel, well-informed without all that information overload.
Cutting through the noise.
Exactly. And today, we're embarking on a wonderfully practical and deeply personal journey into the world of self-care.
A big topic.
Huge. And we're not just discussing abstract theories. Instead, we're exploring a tangible day-in-the-life routine, like a blueprint for actually integrating well-being into our everyday existence.
Making it real.
Right. And the source for this particular deep dive is quite unique, actually. It's an insightful script from episode 30 of the Fluent Flow podcast, fittingly titled My Self-Care Routine in English.
Ah, interesting. I think I know the one.
Yeah. What's truly remarkable about this source material and what gives it a unique power for our deep dive today is that it was originally crafted specifically for beginner English learners, which means the speaker uses incredibly slow, deliberate pronunciation and very simple, direct vocabulary. Now, you might initially wonder, how much depth can there be in something so simple?
You might think it's too basic.
Right.
Right.
But that very simplicity, that intentional clarity, well, that's precisely what strips away all the jargon and gets straight to the universal core of self-care. It lets us focus purely on the essence of the practices.
No distractions.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this idea of self-care and see what a daily routine truly looks like.
Yeah, it's a brilliant point, actually. The deliberate simplicity of this source is almost a methodological advantage for us,
How so?
Well, it allows us to bypass the complex academic debates or the latest self-help trends and really focus on the fundamental building blocks of a self-care routine. It's like the reduced cognitive load of processing complex language kind of frees up our mental space. So we can absorb these fundamental truths about personal well-being without distraction. It's not just about learning English in the source. It becomes a guide to understanding a foundational approach to living well. And, from a broader perspective, self-care isn't merely a fleeting trend or something you indulge in only when you have spare time. It's, what's fascinating here is how the deliberate simplicity of this source allows us to focus purely on the essence of a self-care routine, stripping away complexity to reveal what truly matters. It's a fundamental human need, really, a non-negotiable aspect of thriving.
Right, not just a luxury.
Definitely not. It's the consistent practice of tending to your internal landscape.
I like that phrase, tending to your internal landscape.
Yeah, so that you can navigate the external world more effectively and with greater resilience. So our deep dive today will go beyond just listing activities. We want to understand the underlying principles and the profound sort of ripple effect benefits of integrating these habits into daily life.
That framing, tending to your internal landscape,
Right.
it really resonates. It sounds far more proactive and, essential than just a momentary indulgence.
Exactly. Proactive.
And to begin our exploration, let's go right to the source's definition of self-care. It's incredibly straightforward, almost disarmingly so. The speaker states it means taking care of yourself, taking care of your body and your mind.
Simple. Direct.
So simple. It seems so clear, yet it feels profoundly powerful. What does this direct, unembellished definition imply about the scope of self-care? Why does that simplicity cut through so much of the noise around the topic? So what does this all mean for starting our day with intention?
Well, the directness is its profound strength, I think. When we consider this in the bigger picture, this initial definition immediately broadens our understanding of self-care. It moves it beyond just a fleeting treat or a luxury, right? And it firmly establishes it as a continuous, intentional practice for both physical and mental well-being. Often self-care is mistakenly associated with, indulgent activities like spa days or lavish vacations.
They're nice.
They are nice, absolutely. They have their place. But the source clarifies it as simply taking care. That phrase implies a foundational responsibility, much like taking care of a cherished garden or a valuable possession. You wouldn't neglect something vital, would you? And your body and mind are arguably your most valuable assets. So this definition beautifully emphasizes the holistic connection. It's not solely about physical health, nor just about mental resilience, but the deep symbiotic relationship between the two.
Body and mind.
Exactly. When you neglect one, the other inevitably feels the impact. It's about proactive maintenance, ensuring your internal systems are running smoothly, rather than simply reactive repair after things have already gone wrong.
Proactive maintenance. I really like that phrase too. It immediately makes self-care sound like an indispensable part of our daily lives, something foundational rather than an optional extra.
Precisely.
And that intentionality you speak of truly shines through in the morning routine our source describes. It begins by stating, in the morning, I like to wake up early. I wake up at 6:30 a.m. Okay, so that's a clear rhythm.
Consistency.
But what really grabbed my attention, and frankly surprised me a little, was the very next sentence. I don't use my phone right away.
Ah, the big one.
Right. For many of us, that immediate digital disconnect feels like an almost impossible feat. What's the impact of that choice at the very start of the day? Why is it so crucial?
Well, this specific choice is a true cornerstone of an intentional morning. It really is. The decision to not engage with the phone immediately upon waking is remarkably powerful.
Why is that?
From a psychological standpoint, it creates a vital buffer period between your sleep state and the often overwhelming demands of the external world. Think about it when you instantly reach for your phone.
Which most of us do.
Yeah, sadly. You're immediately bombarded with notifications, news headlines, work emails, social media feeds, all these external stimuli that can instantly trigger a stress response. It activates your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain for problem-solving executive functions, and effectively pulls you into other people's agendas before you've even had a chance to connect with yourself.
Wow. Oh.
And this can lead to increased anxiety, a fragmented sense of focus, and that feeling of being constantly reactive instead of proactive. So by delaying digital input, the individual in our source is protecting their mental space, allowing their brain to gently transition into wakefulness without immediate overwhelm. This seemingly small act can significantly improve focus and cultivate a deeper sense of calm that can carry through the entire day. It sets a precedent of internal control rather than external reaction,
That makes incredible sense. It's like building a personal shield before the day's potential battles even begin.
That's a great way to put it.
After that deliberate digital disconnect, the routine moves into wonderfully simple physical awakening rituals. The speaker says, first, I take a deep breath and stretch my arms. Then, I drink water, a big glass of water. This helps my body feel awake.
These are steps that feel incredibly easy, accessible to anyone really, regardless of how much time they have.
Right, low barrier to entry.
Exactly. What are the immediate physical and physiological benefits of these seemingly simple actions? Well, these seemingly simple actions are deceptively powerful, precisely because they address fundamental physiological needs after a period of rest. During sleep, our bodies can become somewhat dehydrated, right?
Yeah.
And our muscles can stiffen from being in relatively static positions. So, taking a deep breath activates the diaphragm, helps to oxygenate the blood, gently signaling to the body that it's time to wake up and start functioning.
Just one deep breath.
Just one. And stretching, even for a brief moment, increases blood flow to the muscles, improving circulation and reducing any morning stiffness. It helps the body feel more supple and ready for movement.
Okay.
And drinking a generous glass of water upon waking is absolutely vital. It rehydrates the body after hours without fluids. This kickstarts your metabolism, aids in flushing out toxins that have accumulated overnight, and can significantly boost energy levels, helping the body feel awake, not just mentally, but physically, at a cellular level.
Yeah.
These are foundational practices. Cost nothing, require minimal effort, yet yield immediate tangible benefits for both physical comfort and mental alertness.
It truly is amazing how these small conscious acts can have such a profound and immediate effect on how we feel. And then the routine transitions into more traditional hygiene practices, but importantly, it still frames them within this self-care philosophy. Next, I wash my face and brush my teeth. I take a warm shower and wear clean clothes. This helps me feel fresh and ready for the day. It's interesting how even these seemingly mundane daily acts are integrated, contributing directly to that feeling of preparedness and well-being.
That's a really perceptive observation, because while these are indeed daily necessities, the source explicitly links them to feeling fresh and ready for the day.
Right.
This elevates them beyond mere chores to intentional acts of self-care. There's a powerful psychological link between physical cleanliness and mental readiness. A warm shower, for instance, can relax muscles, stimulate circulation, provide a sensory experience that's both cleansing and calming.
Oh, feels good.
Yeah, and donning clean clothes isn't just about appearance, it's about the feeling against your skin, the sense of renewal, starting anew. When we feel physically put together and refreshed, it positively impacts our self-perception and mental state. It gives us a subconscious cue.
Like, okay, I'm ready.
Exactly. A cue that we are prepared to face whatever the day brings, reinforcing a sense of control and self-respect, setting a confident tone for the hours ahead. It's about building momentum and a sense of mastery from the earliest moments.
Okay, now this next part really caught my attention. Honestly, it makes this routine stand out for me. After preparing physically, the routine introduces a fascinating mental practice.
Yeah.
Then I sit down and write in my journal. I write 3 good things in my life.
Gratitude.
Yes, this is called gratitude. Gratitude means feeling thankful. It makes me feel happy and strong. Here's where it gets really interesting. The specificity of 3 good things is particularly captivating. We hear a lot about gratitude, but what's the real scientific backing behind a practice like this? And why would articulating these specific things lead to feeling happy and strong? Is there something magical about the number 3, or is it more about the consistent practice of finding any good things?
That's a great question. And this is truly where the routine taps into some profound psychological principles. And it's an area with robust scientific backing, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Research consistently shows that a consistent gratitude practice can literally begin to rewire the brain over time, shifting our neural pathways to increase activity in areas associated with happiness, pleasure, even social bonding.
Wow, rewiring the brain.
It's powerful stuff. When you consciously identify 3 good things, you're actively training your brain to focus on positive stimuli. You're shifting your perceptual filter away from perceived deficits and towards abundance. This isn't about ignoring life's challenges, obviously.
Yeah, of course not.
But about acknowledging the good that always coexists with them and the act of writing these things down. That adds another crucial layer of effectiveness. It externalizes the thoughts, makes them more concrete, more tangible than just fleeting ideas in your head. It forces a pause, a moment of intentional reflection and deeper engagement with the feeling of thankfulness. As for why 3 good things, well, this specific number is often recommended because it's enough to be meaningful, encourages a genuine search for positive aspects in your day. But it's not so many that it feels overwhelming or like a chore.
Manageable.
Exactly. It strikes a perfect balance between effort and reward. This practice directly combats the brain's natural negativity bias.
Our tendency to focus on the bad stuff.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Our tendency to focus more on problems, threats, or what's going wrong. By consistently redirecting attention to things we are thankful for, even small ones like a warm cup of coffee or a kind word, it cultivates an optimistic mindset.
Right.
It significantly boosts resilience in the face of adversity and profoundly impacts our overall emotional state. It shifts our perception of daily events, making us feel, as the source notes, genuinely happy and strong.
Happy and strong.
Because we are actively cultivating a sense of contentment and inner resourcefulness. It's like an investment in emotional capital that pays dividends all day long.
That's incredibly powerful, the idea of intentionally rewiring your brain just by noticing 3 good things.
Simple, but profound.
And after this mental nourishment through gratitude, the routine moves back to physical nourishment and a gentle immersion into the day. After that, I drink coffee and eat a healthy breakfast. Sometimes I eat fruit, eggs, or oatmeal. I listen to soft music or a short podcast, just like this one.
Nice plug.
Chuckles.
Right. But there's a very clear and conscious choice here for healthy food and a calm audio environment. It feels like a deliberate continuation of that gentle, intentional start.
Absolutely. The choice of a nutritious breakfast fruit, eggs, or oatmeal is absolutely vital for sustained energy and optimal cognitive function throughout the morning. These foods typically provide complex carbs, lean protein, healthy fats. They release energy slowly.
Avoids that mid-morning crash. Exactly. Prevents the slump often associated with sugary, refined breakfasts. It's about fueling the body properly for the mental and physical demands ahead, setting the metabolic stage for productivity and sustained focus.
Okay. And the audio choice. Soft music or a short podcast.
Equally important and often overlooked. This is a gentle transition into the day's intellectual engagement. A stark contrast to immediately tuning into jarring news or high-intensity stimuli.
No shouting heads first thing.
Please no. Soft music can help lower stress hormones, improve mood, and a short, focused podcast can offer a brief burst of learning or inspiration without overwhelming the still awakening mind. It allows for gradual cognitive activation, maintaining the calm established earlier in the routine rather than immediately disrupting it. It's mindful consumption of both food and information, setting a precedent for how the rest of the day's inputs will be managed, with intention and a sense of calm, rather than just being swept away by the current.
And then, so seamlessly. The routine concludes with, and then I start my work. It's a very calm and prepared entry into the workday, isn't it? Almost an extension of the self-care itself.
It really feels that way.
How does this structured lead-in contrast with, say, the common habit of rushing into work, maybe checking emails before even getting out of bed? And what kind of tone does it set?
Oh, the contrast is profound. This structured lead-in fundamentally shifts the entire dynamic of entering the workday. Rushing into work, you're often reactive, stressed, perhaps mentally scattered from the moment you open your eyes.
Sounds familiar.
Right. But this routine culminates in a profound sense of being grounded, centered, and truly prepared. The individual has already proactively addressed their physical needs, hydration, nourishment, fortified their mental state with gratitude and positive focus, and gently engaged their senses with calm auditory input.
So they're ready.
They're ready. This sets a tone of control and balance from the very outset. Instead of feeling like work is something that merely happens to them, they're approaching it from a place of agency and intention. This can lead to increased productivity, better decision-making, and a significantly reduced likelihood of burnout.
Because the foundation is solid.
Exactly. The very foundation for the day is one of self-nurturing and resource building rather than immediate self-depletion. Imagine the difference in your problem-solving capabilities when you start your day from a place of calm clarity versus frantic reaction. The contrast is huge.
So, the morning clearly sets the tone for the entire day. But what about sustaining that well-being through the busiest, most demanding part of the day? Our source then wisely shifts to midday self-care habits, introducing small breaks as a crucial element. Okay, let's unpack how this routine keeps the calm going even in the middle of a busy day. It often feels like midday is precisely when self-care commitments are the first to get sacrificed.
You've hit on a critical point there. Midday is indeed when momentum takes over, and people often feel, compelled to push through without pausing.
The power through mentality.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is the deliberate integration of micro-pauses throughout the day. This recognizes that self-care isn't just a bookend to our day, a morning and evening ritual, but a continuous thread woven into the very fabric of daily life.
Not just before 9 and after 5.
Right. And framing these breaks as essential for preventing burnout and maintaining productivity rather than just a luxury is key. It reframes them as strategic investments in sustained output and mental clarity, not mere disruptions. Without these intentional breaks, fatigue rapidly accumulates, focus wanes, stress can build.
Leading to mistakes, irritability.
All of that. Decreased efficiency, increased susceptibility to errors, heightened irritability. The source acknowledges this fundamental human need for rhythm and respite within the work period itself, not just before or after it. It's about building a sustainable energy curve throughout the day.
So it's truly about proactive maintenance during the day as well, not just at the start. The source specifically mentions, during the day, I take small breaks. I stand up and stretch my body. I walk a little, or look outside the window. These are incredibly simple, quick actions, like maybe 60 seconds here and there, tiny investments.
That's the cumulative impact of these short bursts of movement and environmental awareness on both our physical and mental states.
Well, these actions are deceptively powerful precisely because of their simplicity and immediate accessibility. Physically, breaking up prolonged sedentary periods with standing and stretching is absolutely crucial. We know prolonged sitting carries numerous health risks.
Poor circulation, back pain.
Exactly. Poor circulation, muscle stiffness, chronic back pain. Even just a few minutes of movement can significantly improve blood flow, activate different muscle groups, and prevent the discomfort that can eventually lead to mental fatigue. Walking even a little bit, maybe just to refill a water bottle or step outside for a few moments, further enhances circulation and offers a gentle, natural energy boost. And looking out the window.
Mentally, looking outside the window is a fantastic micro-mindfulness practice. It provides a vital visual break from screens and close-up work, allowing the eyes to rest and refocus. Crucially, it shifts your perspective, both literally and figuratively.
Okay.
Connecting with the outside world, even for a moment, can instantly reduce feelings of being cooped up or overwhelmed, fostering a sense of spaciousness and calm. It's a mini reset button, requires minimal effort, but offers significant returns in terms of physical comfort and mental rejuvenation. It's recognizing that our bodies and minds aren't designed to be static, intensely focused for hours on end. They thrive on movement and varied sensory input.
It truly is remarkable how effective those quick resets can be. Almost like hitting a refresh button on your brain and body.
Exactly, a quick refresh.
And tied into that, the source continues with mindful nourishment. I also drink more water and eat good food. I don't eat too fast. I try to enjoy every bite. This really highlights a deliberate pace for eating and continued hydration. Why is that specific emphasis on not eating too fast and enjoying every bite so important during the midday meal, especially when we're often tempted to just wolf down lunch at our desks?
Oh, the desk lunch, yeah. This speaks directly to the practice of mindful eating, which is a powerful yet often overlooked component of self-care in our fast-paced culture. When we eat too quickly, we often bypass the body's natural satiety signals.
You don't realize you're full until it's too late.
Precisely. This can lead to overeating because our brain doesn't register fullness until well after we've consumed more than we need. It also leads to digestive discomfort as the body isn't given adequate time to prepare for and process the food. By slowing down and intentionally trying to enjoy every bite, we engage more of our senses: taste, smell, texture, sight.
The whole experience.
Right. Which significantly enhances the overall experience of eating. This not only improves digestion, but also increases satisfaction. When you truly savor your food, you're less likely to feel deprived or hungry shortly after, even if you've eaten a perfectly reasonable portion.
Makes sense.
And of course, continued hydration throughout the day remains critical. Dehydration, even mild, can subtly manifest as fatigue, headaches, impaired cognitive function, all of which can severely impact midday productivity and well-being. So the combination of mindful eating and consistent hydration ensures sustained physical energy and optimal cognitive function. It's about the quality of consumption, not just the quantity. How we eat is as important as what we eat.
That brings it home. Our bodies and minds aren't just fuel tanks. They're sophisticated systems that truly need thoughtful care throughout the day.
Excellent.
And speaking of thoughtful care, when that inevitable midday fatigue strikes, the source offers a refreshingly quick solution. When I feel tired, I close my eyes and breathe. Just 2 or 3 minutes of slow breathing helps a lot. Here's where it gets really interesting again, and this is incredibly brief. How can just 2 or 3 minutes of slow breathing have such a significant and noticeable impact on our energy and focus?
This is a prime example of how small, intentional acts can yield disproportionately large benefits. The physiological and psychological impact of short, focused breathing exercises is indeed profound. When we feel tired or stressed, our breathing often becomes shallow and rapid, almost unconsciously.
Yeah, you don't even notice it.
Right. And this type of breathing can inadvertently activate our sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, which keeps us on high alert. Conversely, slow, deep breathing, particularly abdominal or diaphragmatic breathing, stimulates the vagus nerve.
Okay.
This nerve is a key component of your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's natural rest and digest system.
The calming system.
Exactly. In just 2 or 3 minutes, this deliberate shift can begin to lower your heart rate, gently reduce blood pressure, decrease muscle tension, and quiet the racing thoughts in your mind. It signals to your body that it's safe to relax, pulling you out of that low-level stress response.
Wow. In just minutes?
Yeah. This immediate physiological shift translates almost instantly into reduced feelings of fatigue, improved mental clarity, and a renewed sense of focus. It's an accessible internal recalibration, requires no external tools or specific environment, makes it an incredibly potent and rapid energy boost and stress reducer for the middle of a busy day, like hitting an internal reset button when you most need it.
It really is like an internal power nap without actually sleeping. Amazing.
It kind of is, yeah.
And then, following that physical and mental recharge, there's a surprisingly intimate practice. I say kind words to myself. I say, "You are doing your best. You are okay. You are strong." These words help me feel calm and focused.
Yeah.
This concept of positive self-talk or self-compassion is so crucial, yet often overlooked, isn't it?
Hugely overlooked.
How do these internal messages reshape self-perception, boost resilience, and directly influence feelings of calmness and focus when we're feeling tired or overwhelmed?
This is perhaps one of the most powerful and, as you say, often undervalued aspects of self-care outlined here. Our internal dialogue profoundly shapes our reality. If we consistently engage in negative self-talk, criticizing ourselves, focusing on perceived failures, our brains literally reinforce those negative neural pathways.
Makes sense.
Impacting our mood, confidence, ability to cope with challenges. Conversely, positive self-talk or self-compassion directly counteracts this. When you consciously say you are doing your best, it acknowledges your effort, immediately reduces the pressure of perfectionism, which can be a huge source of stress.
Yeah, that pressure is real.
Totally. You are okay validates your current state without judgment, fostering acceptance and reducing anxiety. And you are strong reinforces your inner resources, reminds you of your inherent resilience. These affirmations work on several levels. They can lower stress hormones like cortisol. They activate reward pathways in the brain, and they literally reshape your self-perception over time. By consistently offering yourself encouragement and validation, you begin to build a more supportive internal environment, boosting self-esteem, increasing your resilience against external criticism or internal doubts.
So you feel calmer and more focused.
Directly translates to feeling calmer because you're not battling an internal critic, and more focused because your mental energy isn't being drained by self-doubt or rumination. This raises an important question for all of us, doesn't it? How often do we truly pause to offer ourselves this kind of encouragement? The same kind words we might readily give to a dear friend in need.
That's a truly profound question, one we should probably all reflect on more often.
It's a foundational element for mental well-being. Costs nothing, provides immense returns.
So we've covered the intentional morning and the sustaining midday habits. Now, as the day winds down, the routine wisely shifts to unwinding and preparing for rest. So what does this all mean for ending our day in a way that truly recharges us, rather than leaving us feeling frazzled and restless? This phase, dedicated to intentional relaxation, feels like the perfect bookend to the morning's intentional start.
You're absolutely right. And when we connect this to the bigger picture, the evening routine is often surprisingly overlooked, yet it's absolutely foundational for restorative sleep and effectively processing the day's experiences.
More important than people realize.
Much more. Many people simply crash after a long day or jump straight into stimulating entertainment like binge watching shows or, endless scrolling on social media.
You'll see.
Chuckles. We all are sometimes. But our bodies and minds desperately need a deliberate transition period, a kind of decompression chamber, if you will, to shift from the active, high alert state of the day to the calm, receptive state necessary for true rest and deep sleep.
A wind down period.
Exactly. This isn't just about avoiding screen time, though that's part of it. It's about systematically signaling to the body and mind that it's time to downshift, process the day's inputs, and prepare for renewal. Neglecting this evening wind down can lead to restless nights, fragmented sleep, and that feeling of perpetual exhaustion, even if you're technically spending hours in bed. It's about cultivating the quality of rest, not just the quantity.
Quality over quantity. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And the source lays out a clear, gentle path for this. In the evening, I stop work and start to relax. I like to read a book or listen to quiet music. Sometimes I go for a short walk. The air is cool and the sky is beautiful. This truly highlights a very clear boundary between the active workday and the start of personal, relaxing time.
Establishing that clear, almost ritualistic boundary between work and relaxation, as the source describes, is paramount for maintaining good mental health. This buffer period allows the brain to decompress, disengage from work-related thoughts and stressors, preventing them from bleeding into your personal time.
Stopping work from following you home.
Precisely. Activities like reading a physical book or listening to quiet music engage different parts of the brain than work does. Reading encourages a shift to narrative engagement, drawing your focus away from problem solving. Quiet music can literally help to slow down your brainwave activity, promoting a state of calm. And a short walk, especially in the cool evening air, offers gentle physical movement without intensity. And the simple act of observing the sky and surroundings becomes a subtle, natural form of mindfulness, shifting your focus from internal thoughts to external beauty.
Yeah, that sounds lovely.
These conscious choices promote a deep sense of calm and actively help to reduce the mental noise that accumulates throughout the day, creating the ideal conditions for a gradual transition towards rest. It's about consciously closing the open tabs in your mind so they don't keep buzzing while you're trying to unwind.
And speaking of closing tabs, this next part is incredibly powerful and for many, I imagine, incredibly challenging in our hyper-connected world. After dinner, I turn off my phone. No social media, no emails, just peace and quiet. Here's where it gets really interesting. This is a deliberate, strong choice for a digital cutoff.
A huge one.
What is the profound impact of this digital disconnection before bed? Why is that peace and quiet so absolutely crucial for the evening wind down?
This digital detox, as you rightly point out, is arguably one of the most critical elements of a self-care routine in our modern, always-on society. The profound impact stems from multiple factors. Firstly, the blue light.
Ah, yes, blue light.
We hear about it all the time, right? It's emitted by screens, even in the evening, and it actively suppresses the production of melatonin, Melatonin is the hormone essential for regulating our natural circadian rhythm, our sleep-wake cycle.
So screens mess with our sleep hormones.
Directly. This disruption can make it significantly harder to fall asleep and directly impacts the quality of restorative sleep we get. But beyond the light, there's the content we consume on our phones.
Right, social media, news.
Exactly. Social media, breaking news, urgent emails, it's often highly stimulating. It engages our cognitive processes, triggers emotional responses like anxiety or anger, and can create a pervasive sense of urgency or constant vigilance. None of these states are conducive to winding down.
Quite the opposite.
Right. By making the conscious choice to turn off the phone, the individual is systematically eliminating these myriad sources of mental stimulation and potential stress. The resulting peace and quiet isn't merely an absence of noise, it's an absence of external demands on your attention and mental energy.
Letting your brain rest.
Yes. This allows your mind to naturally slow down, to process the day's events without new, stimulating input, and to achieve a state of true calm that is absolutely essential for falling asleep easily and experiencing deep, restorative sleep. The common struggle people face with this practice itself highlights just how dependent we've become on these devices.
It's hard to disconnect.
It is, which makes the decision to disconnect even more beneficial for reclaiming genuine mental tranquility and improving overall sleep hygiene. It's about creating a sacred mental space for your mind to simply be free from external pull.
That kind of peace and quiet after a day of constant input must feel like a profound relief for the mind.
Absolutely, like letting out a long breath you didn't know you were holding.
And the routine then reintroduces an element we saw in the morning, but with a different focus. I light a candle and write in my journal again. I write how I feel. I write what I did. Writing helps me clear my mind. The candle adds such a lovely, calming sensory touch, doesn't it?
It really does. Creates ambiance.
How does this evening journaling contrast with the morning gratitude practice? And how does it specifically help in clearing the mind before sleep?
The contrast is significant and I think strategically chosen. While morning journaling focuses on cultivating gratitude, setting a positive, intentional tone.
Looking forward.
Right, looking forward. Evening journaling is primarily about emotional processing and mental decluttering. Looking back, but in a constructive way. By writing how I feel and what I did, the individual is engaging in a form of self-reflection and emotional catharsis.
Getting it out.
Exactly. Throughout the day, we accumulate a multitude of thoughts, experiences, unresolved feelings, mental to-do lists. If these are left unaddressed, they can ruminate endlessly in the mind as we try to fall asleep.
The dreaded 3 a.m. brain dump.
Facts. Precisely that, often leading to restlessness or difficulty drifting off. Writing them down effectively externalizes them. It takes them out of the internal repetitive loop of thought and puts them onto paper. This act of dumping thoughts helps to clear the mind by reducing cognitive load, preventing that common bedtime phenomenon.
Makes sense.
It allows for a more peaceful transition to sleep, as the mind isn't actively working to hold on to or process these lingering thoughts or worries. And the candle, as you said, adds a sensory element that deepens the calming ritual, creates a focused, soothing atmosphere for this important reflective practice. It's like closing down all the mental programs running in the background.
That makes so much sense, offloading the day's mental baggage before you try to rest. And then finally, the direct lead up to sleep itself, full of consistent, comforting rituals. Then, I take a warm shower and brush my teeth. I wear soft clothes and make tea. I sit in bed with my key and relax. These sound like such nurturing sensory comfort elements: warmth, softness, soothing taste.
They absolutely are, and they are incredibly effective in signaling to the body and mind that sleep is approaching. These consistent, comforting actions help reinforce healthy sleep patterns. The warm shower continues the relaxation process initiated earlier, and paradoxically, your body temperature then drops slightly after the shower, which is physiologically conducive to sleep. Brushing your teeth, changing to soft, comfortable clothes. These are familiar rituals that further reinforce this transition to bedtime.
Little cues.
Exactly, little cues. Making and sipping tea, particularly a non-caffeinated herbal tea like chamomile or something, provides warmth, a soothing aroma, and a gentle act of self-nurturing that signals a slowing down. The repetition of these rituals, night after night, creates a powerful association in the brain. These actions mean sleep is coming. This routine helps to regulate our internal body clock, our circadian rhythm, and reinforces healthy sleep patterns. It's about consistency and comfort, building a reliable sequence of cues that prepare both your physiology and your psychology for a truly restorative night's rest. creating a highly personalized and effective pre-sleep environment that maximizes the potential for deep, uninterrupted sleep.
And the routine culminates with another moment of gratitude, bringing the day's intentional self-care full circle. Before sleep, I say thank you for the day. I say thank you for small things, a good meal, a smile, a calm moment. Then I sleep. It feels like the perfect closing note to a day lived with such intention.
It truly is the perfect closing note, isn't it? Reintroducing gratitude before sleep powerfully reinforces its benefits. While morning gratitude sets a positive tone for the day ahead, evening gratitude helps to reframe any challenges that might have occurred, allows you to end the day on a note of appreciation rather than rumination or regret.
Letting go of the negative.
Exactly. And focusing on small things, a good meal, a smile from a stranger, a calm moment, perhaps stuck in traffic, is crucial here. It trains the mind to notice and appreciate the mundane blessings that often go unacknowledged, broadening our capacity for appreciation beyond just major successes or milestones.
Finding joy in the little things.
Finding joy in the little things. This practice shifts your emotional state, promoting feelings of contentment, peace, and security, which are absolutely ideal for peaceful sleep. It helps to dissolve any lingering negative emotions or stress from the day, allowing the mind to rest in a more positive state. And this raises an important question for us all. How does consciously ending the day with gratitude not only promote better sleep that night, but also profoundly affect our overall outlook on life, fostering a more positive and resilient perspective over time?
That's a powerful thought.
It's the final, gentle nudge towards a state of holistic well-being before deep rest.
That really brings home the full arc and profound impact to this simple routine. So we have walked through these insightful morning rituals, the sustaining midday habits, and the deliberate evening wind-down practices. Now let's pivot to the overarching why behind it all. Our source explicitly addresses this, challenging common misconceptions about self-care with a very direct statement. Taking care of yourself is not selfish, it is kind. This challenges a deeply ingrained societal belief for many, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Why is self-care truly so important? And is it really for everyone, even those who feel they have absolutely no time? This raises an important question. Why is self-care truly important? And is it really for everyone?
That statement, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is kind, is truly fascinating, as you say, because it directly confronts that widespread misconception. Self-care is often perceived as an indulgence, something reserved for people with endless time, or worse, as inherently self-absorbed.
Yeah, me time can sound a bit selfish.
It can sound that way, but this source argues it's an act of fundamental kindness, and crucially, not just to oneself, but also to others around you.
How so? Explain that connection.
Well, consider this. When you consistently neglect your own body and mind, what happens? Your energy levels inevitably plummet, your patience wears thin, your focus diminishes, your capacity to be fully present and compassionate for those around you suffers.
You get snappy, maybe less helpful.
Exactly. Think of the common metaphor. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly depleted, stressed, overwhelmed, how effectively can you truly show up for your family, your friends, your colleagues, your community?
Not very effectively.
Right. By consistently investing in your own well-being, by proactively taking care of your body and mind, you are actively building a vital reservoir of energy, resilience, and calm. This allows you to be more present, more energetic, more empathetic, and ultimately more helpful and effective in all your interactions. So it's a virtuous cycle.
Kindness to self enables kindness to others.
Precisely. Kindness to self enables and amplifies your kindness to others. It's a necessity for sustainable well-being and meaningful interaction, not a luxury or an optional add-on. What's fascinating here is the way the source distills the critical why of self-care, showing its ripple effect on every aspect of life.
That's a powerful reframe, moving it from a personal indulgence to a foundational element for our interactions with the world. And the source follows up with very tangible benefits that anyone can relate to, describing the direct outcomes of this routine. When I do my self-care routine, I feel better, I feel calm, I feel more energy, I can think better, I can help others more. These are incredibly direct, observable results, not abstract concepts.
These are indeed the direct experiential outcomes, and they connect to virtually every aspect of life. Feeling better is that holistic sense of improved well-being that permeates your day. Calm signifies enhanced emotional regulation, a reduced tendency to react impulsively to stress.
That helps you think better.
Exactly. This enables clear thinking as your mind isn't cluttered by anxiety or agitation. leading directly to better decision-making and more effective problem-solving. More energy translates to greater stamina for daily tasks, both physical and mental, significantly reducing fatigue and increasing overall productivity.
And then being able to help others more.
And the culminating benefit, I can help others more, directly ties back to the "it is kind" argument. When you are feeling calm, energized, and thinking clearly, you possess a greater capacity for empathy, patience, effective contribution. Whether it's showing up more fully for a loved one, being a more effective and collaborative team member at work, or simply having the mental and emotional bandwidth to truly listen to a friend.
Your cup is full enough to share.
Exactly. Your enhanced personal well-being directly amplifies your ability to positively impact the world around you. It's a profound ripple effect where self-investment truly leads to greater outward contribution and connection.
And finally, perhaps the most encouraging message of all, especially for those feeling overwhelmed by the very idea of starting any new routine, or those who feel they have absolute no time. Even 5 minutes of self-care is good.
This 5 minutes.
Yeah. The source then gives specific, highly accessible examples. You can drink water, take deep breaths, write in a journal, say kind words to yourself, or just sit and rest. And then the powerful, non-intimidating advice: start small, one thing, every day. That is enough. This truly makes self-care achievable for anyone, regardless of their current circumstances.
This is perhaps the most liberating and actionable insight from the entire source, I think. And it's a critical principle for sustainable habit formation. The psychological principle of starting small is absolutely foundational.
Why is starting small so effective?
Well, when a new habit seems overwhelming, too time-consuming, requires too much initial effort, our natural tendency is often to procrastinate or simply not begin at all. By emphasizing even 5 minutes and suggesting single, simple acts, the source brilliantly reduces the barrier to entry. This directly combats the common belief that self-care must be this grand, time-consuming overhaul.
Like needing a whole weekend retreat or something.
Right, or expensive retreats or elaborate routines. The examples provided, drinking water, deep breaths, a quick journal entry, positive self-talk, or simply resting, are all highly accessible, require no special equipment, specific environment, or significant financial investment. This makes self-care achievable regardless of your schedule, your resources, or your current energy level.
Takes the pressure off.
Completely. The powerful message, start small, one thing, every day, that is enough, highlights that consistency, even with minimal effort, is far more effective and sustainable than sporadic grand gestures that quickly fizzle out. Each small, consistent act builds momentum, strengthens the neural pathways for self-nurturing behaviors, and compounds over time. It's about building a resilient routine that integrates into real life, rather than striving for a perfect, unattainable ideal. This is how lasting change, and indeed, true well-being, is built brick by tiny, consistent brick.
What an incredibly insightful deep dive this has been. The source material, originally designed for beginner English learners, truly did strip away complexity to reveal the profound simplicity and universal power of a daily self-care routine.
It really did cut to the core.
Yeah. It's clear that self-care, as outlined here, is a structured yet incredibly adaptable daily practice, encompassing intentional morning rituals, sustaining midday habits, and a deliberate evening wind-down, all focused on holistic well-being for both body and mind.
The whole package.
It strongly reinforces that even small, consistent acts of self-care can profoundly impact our energy, our calmness, our clarity of thought, and our overall capacity to navigate the world and connect with others. So what does all of this mean for you and your daily life? I encourage you maybe just reflect on your own day and identify just 1 or 2 small areas where you might meaningfully integrate an element of this routine.
Just one small thing.
Yeah. Perhaps it's that digital disconnect first thing in the morning, or just 2 minutes of deep breathing at midday, or maybe simply putting your phone away after dinner tonight.
This deep dive into a deceptively simple self-care routine truly reveals that authentic well-being isn't about grand gestures or expensive treatments, is it? It's really about the consistent, intentional accumulation of small, mindful acts. It's a continuous practice of recognizing and meeting your fundamental human needs moment by moment. It teaches us that profound shifts in how we feel and function can indeed begin with incredibly humble beginnings, just building momentum over time. So maybe consider this provocative thought. How might embracing just one small thing from this deep dive consistently every single day transform not only your current moments of peace and productivity, but your long-term relationship with yourself and your overall life trajectory? Imagine the compounding effect of these seemingly minor yet deeply intentional choices. What could that look like for you?
That's a wonderful thought to leave our listeners with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's offered you valuable insights for a more well-informed and, well, perhaps a more well-lived life. We look forward to exploring more fascinating topics with you next time here on The Deep Dive.